In this video, I will be discussing about the basic of sensor and its classification. Let us move on the definition of sensor. First, sensor can be defined as input device which provides an output signal with respect to the specific physical quantity. Let me explain this, and with respect to physical changes, you will be getting the measurable output. Okay, it is an input device, and of course we can say that sensor is an input device. So with respect to physical changes, you are going to get a measurable quantity. For example, thermometer I am going to use with respect to change in temperature. What is going to happen? The thermometer that gives a suitable reading for temperature. Another example, barometer, it measures the pressure, atmosphere or atmospheric pressure. Okay, with respect to the changes in the atmosphere pressure, you will be getting the reading. Anyway, the sensor helps for the measurement. For example, voltage sensor for voltage measurement, example current sensor for current measurement. These are the example of different type of sensor. Why voltage sensor is required? Suppose I need to measure 11 kV by using normal type of voltmeter. It is not possible to measure. So what I am going to do? I will be taking the sample of voltage. Okay, so with the help of a voltage sensor, I can be able to measure the voltage of high voltage, which will be converted into measurable quantity. So this is the definition for sensor. You can see the block diagram. Okay, also as you can see, these are different varieties of sensor. For example, we can see LDR. What do you mean by LDR? See, LDR is available here as light dependent resistor, which operate with respect to intensity of light. Okay, so if the light or if the presence of light, the resistance will be changing. That is why it is known as light dependent resistor. Similarly, you can be able to see the soil moisture sensor. Okay, with respect to change in soil moisture, you will be getting the electrical quantity. Either it may be voltage or current, and a humidity sensor is available here. Okay, with respect to humidity changes in humidity, you will be able to understand that. So you will be able to get the particular reading. We have IR sensor. Okay, so there are two type of IR sensor: transmissive type as well as reflective type. Transmissive type as well as reflective type. The IR sensor is helps to sense of is an infrared sensor are electrical component that detect particular waves of radiation, including heat. So IR based sensor enables system to detect their surrounding and responding appropriately. Okay, the working of an IR sensor involves detecting infrared waves emitted from a person or object that enter the sensing area of the device containing an infrared sensor. So in this course, we are going to familiar different types of sensor. Also I would like to discuss about the importance of sensor in different areas. So what are the main importance of sensor? What is concentrating at automatic aircraft system? So it is a closed loop control system. For example, if you consider a flight, just I will show the picture. It is suppose example, consider a flight or an aeroplane. Position, height, speed, temperature and location has to be measured. In order to measure position, height, speed, temperature, location, humidity, all those things, we need sensor. So different varieties of sensor are required. Then the output of sensor that will be directly feeding to microcontrollers. For example, you can say computer is a microcontroller. What exactly does it? It will be comparing with the reference quantity with respect to actual quantity. So actual quantity will be available with the help of sensor. So comparing reference quantity with respect to actual quantity, it is going to provide desirable output. That desirable output will be feeding to engine flaps, motor wings, etc. So that it maintains stability and the proper working will be taken place, especially for aircraft system. So presence of sensor in aircraft control system is highly unavoidable. Let us concentrate some other application. Consider the data science. We can able to observe data acquisition device. Okay, so the input of data acquisition device will be sensor. So data acquisition device will be sensor. So you will be receiving the input with the help of sensor. So in order to operate that acquisition device, presence of sensor is highly unavoidable. It is too essential, and this is your final output. So all are concentrated, all are connected. So all are connected to sensor output. Okay, so sensor will be connected to signal conditioning device, that is DOQ device here. Then there will be a DC, and output will be directly connected to our particular computer. Here, so that acquisition device means it compares of signal conditioning device, ADC, etc. So in order to give the input to the data acquisition device, we must require sensor. So presence of sensor is highly essential. Okay, so in case of a data acquisition system, that sensor exactly does it measure the changes in the physical quantity or changes in the environment temperature, pressure, etc. So electra can be measured with the help of sensor. For example, you can see microphone, thermometer, those are the popular example of sensor. Let us understand what are the different types of sensor which are available. For example, thermocouples, then resistive temperature detector, you can call RTD, then thermistor, thermocouple, that is going to operate with help of Sivak effect. Okay, so there will be hot junction as well as cold junction. Difference between hot and cold junction. So that that produce voltage. Then thermistor is actually based on positive or negative temperature coefficient of resistance. So thermistor can be used in case of air conditioning system. So this sensor will be helpful for measuring the temperature. If I talk about the strain gauge, it can measure strain, then pressure, tension, weight, etc. In order to measure weight and load, you can go for load cell. If I talk about linear variable differential transformer, that is called LVDT, it is mainly used for measurement of displacement or distance. If I mention about automobile, so accelerometer is highly unavoidable, and microphone is one of the best example of a sensor. It captures sound waves with a different frequency and the current transducer that can be measured either AC or DC current. So these are the different types of sensor. Let me have a brief overview about other type of sensor. So let me continue. Voltage transformer, it measure the voltage. Then optical sensor, what it does, it detect presence of light, then it transmit the data and replace the conventional sensor. It is mainly used for the OFC communication, optical fiber cable. So you must have familiar, it always based on the total internal reflection regarding the camera. Without sensor, we cannot operate with the digital camera. So it is used to capture the signal and continues to the images. So it is mainly used for the image processing. Then digital sensor, that is used for discrete on-off counting. Then linear and rotary encoding position, which can help to control or position measurement, etc., which can be done with the help of digital sensor. Regarding GPS, there are a lot of applications used to capture the longitudinal and latitudinal position based on the GPS. Then other satellite position system, especially for satellite positioning system. Okay, so different GPS sensor with the different accuracy ranges are available nowadays. So we have familiar different types of and its importance. In this session, I have mainly explained what do you mean by sensor and what are the different types of sensor, and one more point is remaining: how do I classify sensor? The first classification, you can divide the sensor into, I have listed out so many sensor, different types of sensor. So you can classify different types of sensor according to different parameters. Number one, active, and other is passive sensor. So let me know, what do you mean by active sensor? In case of active sensor which require external power or any external excitation that is required. If I speak about passive sensor, it does not require any external power signal or any kind of excitation. So this is actually one type of classification, active as well as passive sensor, which is depends on the external supply or external powering unit. The second classification, by means of detection used in the sensor. For example, it may be electric detection or biological detection or chemical detection or radioactive detection. Based on that, you can divide it: electric sensor, biological sensor, chemical sensor, radioactive sensor, etc. The third classification is based on the conservation phenomena. If I speak about thermoelectric meters, thermoelectric sensor, the input will be temperature and output will be electrical quantity. So electrochemical signal, input will be chemical changes and output will be electrical quantity. So chemical changes will be measured in terms of electrical quantity. Okay. For example, in antenna, you must have seen antenna, electromagnetic waves that is actually dealing with the antenna. Then output will be electrical quantity, thermo-optic. Okay, input, in case of thermo-optic, input may be temperature, and output will be terms of light. The fourth classification is analog and digital sensor based on the output. What kind of output you are getting from the sensor? Will it be analog or will it be digital? According to that, you can divide the sensor for uses. Example, analog sensor that provides the continuous output, where digital signal, I know that it can say it will be like 01, 10 or 0101. So in this session we have discussed about what do you mean by sensor, a simple block diagram of sensor, list out different types of sensor. We made a brief list and we made understood the basic types of sensor which are available in the market, and we understood the importance of sensor, where it can be employed, and the two major area we have explained, and finally the classification, how do you classify these different types of sensor, and different criteria we are familiar, almost 5 criteria according to that. Okay, that's all. Thank you.